Hello, my podcast people, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of my favorite online business podcast. If you are listening, tuning in, watching with los ojos on the day that it drops, it is Monday, March 23rd. Welcome to the back half of March. Summer be summering here in Southern California. I'm actually sweating right now, and we haven't even started the episode, but I got all the lights on. You can't see them, but you can see me because I have all the lights on. Because the sun has changed its position, because we did the whole stupid chime change, which means the sun, for those of you who know lighting, I'm going to be backlit, side lit. It's not great, especially with this camera that I use, which means I have to have all the lights in front of me on, and it's hot in here because we also have the Santa Ana winds. They brought the heat, they brought the dryness. And I'm honestly not mad about any of that. It's really just the lights. I'm like, fuck. I love the heat. I love the warmth. Here for it. I do hate the time change, though. Not just because of the lighting, but because, let's just pick one. This back and forth, we don't need it. It's jarring. To change an hour in a day, jarring. So, for those of you that don't have it, bless. We all got to just get our acts together, the rest of us. So, one quick biz announcement, and then we were hopping in because it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode, I think, just based on how long this outline is. So, quick biz announcement, and then we'll hop into the main topic, which is 5 things I look at when I audit someone's website. So, the announcement is that the rebrand for my other podcast, yes, I have another podcast, it is complete. I started another podcast, second podcast last August 2025, and it was named ChatGPT Curious. And it has officially been rebranded as, drumroll please, Prompting Curiosity. Everything has been switched. It's live on all the players, and the website has been fully switched. And y'all, if you've got an extra moment, please do me a solid. Go check out the website. Much of the change on the website was honestly just like a color scheme and the fonts. But I did a complete overhaul of the homepage, especially the hero section of the homepage. That's really what I did. The hero section of the homepage, complete overhaul. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so excited with how it came out. I love it. I think it's so cool. It's very me. When you see it, you'll be like, it's very Maestro. But I'd love it if you went and checked it out. I'm proud of it. Would love for you to go check it out. The URL, promptingcuriosity.com, and you can go see what it's all about. But for those of you that had no idea that I had a second podcast, Prompting Curiosity, that's the new name, right? It is a podcast for the AI curious. No coding background required. I do the research, I do the exploring, so that you don't have to. And then I share what I find. So if you've been wondering about ChatGPT and Claude and how best to use those LLMs, yes, they are called LLMs, and I talk about that in the podcast. I explain all the things, the math behind it, all of the things, how it works, the environmental issues, the social issues, the financial and political issues related to AI. I got you covered. All right, the whole site is searchable. Again, that's why I'm so stoked with that new homepage. I think it's really dope. And I also release every single podcast episode as a blog post and a newsletter. So if you're like, I can only handle but so much of you talking, Maestro, that's fine. You can go read. All right, but if you want to listen, you can. If you don't, you can go and read. And I'm really proud of how the blog posts turn out and the newsletter turns out as well. So, I just want people to be informed. I want my people to be informed consumers and informed users. AI is not going anywhere. I really enjoy it. I really do. But it's also not going anywhere. So if you want to learn more about it, I got you. I'm putting the information out just for you. Check out Prompting Curiosity wherever you get your podcasts, or promptingcuriosity.com if you want to check out the website. All right. Speaking of websites, I almost said transition because I'm saying segue and transition. Good segue, good transition into today's main topic, which is 5 things that I look at when I audit a website. So last episode, I spoke about my new surprise signature offer. It was a surprise to me, and I'm like, wow, I fucking love this thing, which is the website messaging audit. You can check out that episode if you haven't already. This week, I want to spend more time talking about it because, yes, I want to help more folks in this way. All right, the offer is fucking dope. I've had more people come through it. I fucking love it. It's awesome. It's such a great starting point for folks who are looking for help with their messaging. If that's you, I want to help you. But y'all know that I'm a teacher through and through. I pull the curtain back on everything. And so I want to use this episode to teach you exactly what I go through, the steps that I go through when I'm looking at when I audit a website. I have nothing to hide. By all means, go and do it yourself, right? As a start, run through an audit yourself. There's value in that, right? The value of hiring me subsequently is twofold. Number one, oftentimes people are too close to the thing to realize that, a prospective customer or, a stranger wouldn't understand it. Right? You know what you're trying to say. You know what your offers and services are. You know how you do things. You know who you are. Prospective clients, prospective customers, they don't. And oftentimes you as the business owner, you can't really see where your messaging falls short in communicating all of those things. Right? Your brain will naturally fill in the gaps in the messaging. Prospective customers, they can't do that. That's where I come in. I can see that. Number two, the second value point of hiring me to run an audit versus only doing one yourself is what I'm going to call pattern recognition over time. So I've been doing this for a really long time. This is the first time I'm, productizing it as a website audit, but I've been doing this for years and years and years. Over the past 10 years, I've looked at hundreds upon hundreds of businesses and personal brands looking at their messaging. At this point, I know what the problem is before I can necessarily even articulate it. I'm like, nope, that doesn't fit with that. That doesn't fit with that. That doesn't fit with that. Simply because I've seen the patterns a million times, right? I've seen the same pattern show up as 11 billion times across so many different niches, so many different offers, so many different personalities, but the same things come up. All right, I can spot them pretty fast, which is also why I fucking love AI, because that's what it does, is pattern recognition as well. And I'm like, this is my pattern recognition homie. So this pattern recognition, it takes reps, and so pattern recognition at scale takes reps. It takes time, and most folks have really, my guess, you watching this, listening to this, most folks only looked at their own website and maybe a handful of others, like the people they're trying to emulate or like their people they're competing with, whatever. Or either way, it's only a handful, and it's just not enough examples to really refine that skill. Right? But enough about me. Let's get into those 5 things, right? 5 things that I look at every single time I audit a website. I'm going to give you the overview of the 5 things, and then I will break down each one of them, all right? So the first one, overall clarity. Is it immediately obvious who you help and what you do? Second thing, avatar audience alignment. It's avatar/audience, right? It's not avatar dash. Avatar/audience alignment. Does your messaging speak directly to your ideal client's actual problems, wants, needs, and values? Number 3, voice presence. Can people hear you in the writing, or does it sound bland and basic as fuck? I literally say that in the thing. Number 4, intent, impact, congruence. This time it is a dash, right? Intent and impact. I'm seeing the congruence between the 2 things. Does what you're trying to communicate actually land the way that you want it to? All right. And number 5, I'm going to leave to the end. I'm not going to overview it. I'm leave to the end. Okay. So next, those are the 5 things I've given you 4. Next, I'm going to go through each one with an example of like the biggest and or most common issues that I tend to see. So the first one, overall clarity. Is it immediately obvious what you do and who you help? I know that some of you, as I'm saying this, you're like, nope, I already know it's not. But bear with me. What I see as the biggest issue here is the messaging is vague. All right, so an example would be, I help women come back to themselves. On its own, that's vague and that's difficult to understand. But this is different than Instagram because you do have more real estate for context, right? And websites, they do give you more wiggle room with things because of this real estate. But it means that there needs to be strong messaging throughout that explains how you help these women come back to themselves, what exactly coming back to themselves means and looks like, and what not being there looks like. Right? I am looking to see, is that communication clear and complete? You can absolutely have more esoteric language and a less well-defined or less traditional niche, for sure. But the entirety of the site must be able to completely present that information. One of the main things that I have helped people with forever is identifying that niche, identifying that avatar, and then going all the way in. Sometimes the language is a bit soft or a bit cloudy or a bit vague because the person doesn't know or because they're a little bit scared to go in. They're a bit scared to go all in with that person because they're like, but what about? But what about? But what about? One of the things that I will do and I will push people to do is go all in on that niche. You can't just be dipping a toe and worrying about all the people that you might be excluding. Number 2, avatar/audience alignment. Does your messaging speak directly to your ideal client's actual problems, wants, needs, and values? I love this one. Love it. Hopefully you see how point number 1, overall clarity, aka identifying your niche and your avatar, that's the foundation for everything. Right? The biggest issue that I see here is what I'm going to refer to as broadcasting. Right? People are talking at people, talking at prospective customers as opposed to or instead of talking with them. Right? Yes, I get it. A website is it's a fixed asset, right? It's static text that you write and then somebody reads on their own time. But when you're writing it, you want to be thinking about it and you want to be writing it as if you're having a conversation with somebody. What might they ask? What might be confusing? What might need more clarification? How might they respond? And why? Why would they respond that way? Right? The summary of those things is that you are considering the other. Have you thought about what they actually care about, or are you just focused on what you want to communicate? Example, I see this all the time. It's a big one. Physical therapists with brick and mortar practices, they really want to say how they have these hour-long sessions and these one-on-one sessions, and they never double book. I don't think patients really give a fuck about that, to be completely honest. All right? Do patients actually care about this? Because I don't think so. Or do they care about getting out of pain? Do they care that you don't double book because they believe that the longer session will help you solve their problem and get them out of pain? That's what I want to make sure that we're identifying and that we're communicating and putting front and center. I see a lot of physical therapists that are almost speaking to the frustrations that they have with the system and being like, look, I solved the problem that I had with the system. Double booking, insurance, I can't treat you the way that I want. Meanwhile, patients are like, what about my fucking back? Is my back going to get better? I am looking, when I'm auditing a website, I'm looking across your entire website and assessing how much and how well you are considering the other. Number 3, voice presence. Fun one. Can people hear you in the writing, or does it sound bland and basic as fuck? This is a fun one and does have some nuance if the person that I'm auditing, if it's like they have a business and there's like a few people working there, right? A physical therapy practice and there's like 5 people. I get it. It can't necessarily be your voice specifically, right? You have the voice for the business. I get that. It's a little bit different, a business like that versus a personal brand. But either way, I want to hear that voice. Right? Y'all already know my whole shtick, more you. I don't have one of those shirts on today, but you already know. That's my shtick. Right? And this is where that comes into play. So just from like a little structural perspective and like a little order of operations perspective, I do a 30-minute call. When I run these audits, I do a 30-minute kickoff call for the entire audit process. And we just talk. Right? I just want to hear from that person. Right? And specifically for this question, I want to know about you, who you are, what you sound like. This way I can see if that comes through on the website. The biggest issue that I see, folks, you already know, they're trying to be quote unquote fucking professional. Professionalism is racist, y'all. I'm just going to say it. And if that made you feel some kind of way, Google it. ChatGPT it, Claude it. It's racist. That's racist ideology, racist origins. Right? They're trying to be professional and they're talking like they got a turtleneck on and a stick up their butt. Nobody wants that. Right? Or they're using, a lot of industry jargon to try and sound smart. That ain't it. The new biggest issue that I'm seeing for people that have tried to I'm going to revamp my website, it sounds like AI. Dude, we can tell when you use AI. I can tell when you use AI. Everyone can tell. We can tell. Stop doing that. Knock it off. I know you don't want to write the things. I know. You got to do it anyway. You don't want to write it, but guess what? If you use AI, nobody wants to read it. No one's going to read it. And so yes, as part of the audit, I will give you suggestions on what to write. And I'll get you started on things and prompts and things like that. And be like, hey, I would love for it to give this kind of vibe. And I think this is what should go here. It's not full copywriting. It's what I call copy consulting. Right? It's a team effort. But I will make sure you don't sound like a fucking robot. We can all tell when you have just used ChatGPT. Right? Side note, plug for my other podcast, episode 33. So that was 2 weeks ago. Episode number 33 was 8 AI writing patterns that are dead giveaways. So if you are like, hey, what are they called? How can I spot them? I got you. You can listen. You can go read the blog post, whatever you want. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Jojo. The links will be in the show notes. All right, number 4, intent, impact, congruence. Intent, impact, congruence. Does what you're trying to communicate actually land the way that you want it to? To me, this is about filling in the gaps, kind of reading between the lines and listening around the edges. Right? Messaging is communication. And communication, my friends, is not just spoken or written. It is implied. It is inferred. I'm looking at the pictures. I'm looking at the font choice. I'm looking at readability. I'm looking at the overall flow. I'm looking at word choice. I'm looking at the order that your lists. What goes first in that list? That stuff does matter. It does say something. Examples of, quote unquote mistakes that I see here, where it's incongruent, right? That's the big thing. I don't want to think like, oh, it's bad. It's just, it's incongruent. It's jarring for my nervous system. Someone who says that they help busy moms, and then their website is like long text that's difficult to read. And like, even just the readability of it and just like the like visual aesthetics of it, of like, man, I can't really read this font, right? The text is not broken up. There's no bolding. There's no lists. It's just like big, dense writing. It's hard to navigate the site. How are you helping busy moms? You're giving them more work to do. Incongruent. Folks who say that they help people with brain fog. This is a similar one. Meanwhile, the site has super long blocks of text. It's confusing directions. It's incongruent. Physical therapy practices who say they value transparency, but then they hide their prices. What are you doing here? Right? The person who says that they do admin work for people, and then your website's a shit show. Right? Shit show. It's like hard for me to say. Broken links, bad design, can't figure out how to schedule. What's going on? Incongruent. I'm not here to say that your website needs to be the most beautiful thing ever. One of the first things that I have people do when I work with them, as an online business, as a business coach, is I have them make a website if they don't have one already. And it doesn't have to be this incredibly beautiful thing. It just has to be functional. Right? Yes, if we're looking at SEO practices and we're looking at like from brick and mortar, things like that, that's Lex's zone of genius and that stuff does matter. But for people that are online, like, I just need people to know that you're not a fucking killer. You're not like a psychopath. What does your website look like? Right? And these are very basic things that anyone can do. You don't have to outsource that. But these are the things, the stories that I'm looking at. Is it congruent with what you're saying and how you're saying you do it versus how you're showing up? Right? I'm looking to say, do you walk the talk? Lastly, this is number 5. I didn't give it to you before. I'm going to give it to you now. How does it feel? All right, this one is all vibes, baby. All vibes, all my vibes. Basically, this is a catch-all spot for anything else that may not fit into the 4 of the categories. Right? When I run an audit, I actually look at the website before I even have any kind of contact with the owner, and before I look at the comprehensive intake form. I have a super comprehensive intake form. And so before we meet, before we do anything, I go and look at the site. I'm just looking vibes, baby. How does it feel? How does it make me feel? How do I feel about it? Yes, I can still do this if I know the business owner, because I don't know their intent with the site or the intention. I don't know for sure until I meet with them. And then when they tell me it, then I can go back and and then I can go and see if it matches. And that's number 4, right? That intent, impact, congruence. And see if what their intention is matches what's on the website. All right, there's no right or wrong when I'm doing this one. And for point number 5, it's just vibes. Like, how does this thing make me feel? I know that you know what I'm talking about. You go to an Instagram account, you get started a new Instagram account, you go to the page, like, should I follow this? You know, boom, pretty damn quick if you want to follow that person or not. All right, vibes, baby. That's what I'm doing. All right, and then when I get that sense, that feeling for things, I will oftentimes encourage people to bring out more of that or highlight that or make sure that they intentionally infuse whatever that thing is. All right, so again, it's not right or wrong. For example, here, I did a first big pass with a client, a first pass with a client that did a big overhaul of their messaging. And I could tell when I was just reading it, I was like, man, she's a teacher. She's an amalgamator, puts things together and just like taking from a lot of pieces of her life. It's literally her essence. It's literally her superpower based on what I'm seeing. But it's not overtly stated anywhere. It's not highlighted. It's not leaned into. It's not clearly stated and demonstrated how all these parts fit together to make an awesome solution. So we changed that. And that was a really fun one. So there you have it. 5 things that I'm looking at when I audit someone's website, right? It's a fun process. It's a comprehensive process. And it's a process that I, by all means, encourage you to experiment with on your own. And I'm looking at time. I'm like, we're going to do this. We're going to wrap it up. If and when you're ready for outside help, you want a second set of eyes, I would love to help you. movementmaestro.com/website-messaging-audit. We'll link it in the show notes. Thank you, Jojo. Thank you, Courtney. Questions, hit me up. DM me. Give me a text. 310-737-2345. There is no link on the site for discovery calls because I'm not trying to deal with tire kickers. I had way too much of that in the past. But if you listen to the podcast, I know that you're good people. So DM me first. And if you're wanting a discovery call, you need a discovery call. I know it's not cheap. That's $697 currently. It's going to go up. I'm telling you, folks, the price is going to go up. I don't say it to scare you. I say it because I like telling the truth. But if you're like, hey, I just want to make sure of something first, go ahead. DM me, text me. I'm happy to send you a link for a discovery call. But I don't put it front facing because I don't want the fucking tire kickers. But I'm going to wrap it up there. Feel free. Go and do the audit on your own. Run through it. And if you're like, man, I could use that second set of eyes, or what Maestro was saying, I'm down with it. I want help with it. Let me help you. I love this shit. I am really, really excited for how things are in the business. Y'all have been with me. You saw where I was at with, post-election and just trying to figure out like what's worth saving. What is an act of resistance and what's being a little bitch? What do I want to let go of? And I'm really happy with where I've landed and what I've settled on. I'm really fucking happy with the rebrand for the podcast. Again, if you want to know why I left ChatGPT, and I'm all in on Claude, if you don't know already, that episode should actually already be out. By the time this comes out, that episode will already be out. I believe it's episode 35. Talk about the name change, but I really talk about why I left ChatGPT, and I bring the receipts. So you can check that out. And I'm really happy with where the business is going and them leaning into messaging and really helping people out with that. So if you want help, I would love to help you. You got all the information there. Hit me up, DM me, send me a text. If you want the discovery call, happy to do one with you. And yeah, gonna wrap it up there. Thank you for the opportunity to pull back the curtain and nerd out on this stuff. As always, my friends, endlessly, one more time, endlessly appreciative for every single one of you. Until next time, friends, Maestro out.